What's up, everyone? How we doing? Welcome to Week 10. Pretty good matchup tonight between the Bengals and Ravens. Second game in their division series this year. The first one is a game of the year candidate, 41-38 in overtime. Went to the Ravens. So hopefully we get some type of duplicate of that game tonight. Even on a short week, it's certainly possible. These defenses have struggled against the pass. Let's see if we get any more fireworks this evening. As always, I will give my general thoughts on the game as a whole, and the individual players as it pertains to tonight. So that might help answer any potential start-sit questions that you may have for Bengals-Ravens. We'll also look at overall in the latest that we have as far as injury updates and practice reports for the past couple of days. And then, of course, I can take your questions. Just pulling up my sheets. For tonight's game. There's a decent number of must-start options, must-start players in this game. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry on Baltimore side. Zay Flowers is also probably have to be, is in the must-start category at this point now. He's been cooking the past couple of weeks, or well, at least since he's been fully healthy. Yeah, past couple of weeks, 7 for 115, week 7, 5 for 127 and 2 last week. We don't expect 2 touchdowns every single week, but in this matchup against this secondary, Zay Flowers is in the must-start category, along with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson on Baltimore side. On Cincinnati side, I think Joe Burrow remains a must-start. If in one quarterback leagues, if you have Burrow, you probably don't have a better alternative to turn to. Short week, another game with no T. Higgins, of course. The last time we saw them play without T. Higgins was just 4 days ago, and Burrow tossed 5 touchdowns. On the road, short week, that is a taller task. That is going to be a more difficult accomplishment to achieve. However, it is Joe Burrow. He is playing great this year. The Bengals as a team are not, but Burrow as an individual quarterback is. Even without Higgins, I think you have to fire him up on the road short week. It's a great matchup by the numbers. Division opponent makes it a little bit more potentially more of a harrowing task for Joe Burrow. But he lit this defense, this secondary up earlier in the year. So maybe not an issue for Burrow. Jamar Chase, obviously in your lineup. Chase Brown at this point, obviously in your lineup. He is in the top 10 to 12 range for running backs any given week, rest of season, which when you factor into where he was drafted in drafts this year, Chase Brown is shaping up to be a league winner at this point. Congratulations if you have Chase Brown. Zach Moss is done for the season. The team traded for Khalil Herbert, who was out of the rotation in Chicago. He now moves into a depth role with Chase Brown seemingly taking over the vast majority of snaps and touches on a per-week basis moving forward. He does not come out of your lineup. He's in that top 10 category now any given week. This is not a great matchup by the numbers. Baltimore is stingy against the run, but Chase Brown can catch the ball. We expect these offenses to move the ball with a decent amount of success anytime they take the field. I want the starting running back that's next to Joe Burrow, that's working with Joe Burrow. Bad matchup be damned. Chase Brown needs to be in your starting lineup. He is officially, there's no more Your question with Chase Brown now at this point is Chase Brown or Bijan or Chase Brown or Gibbs. If it's not on that level, then he's in your lineup. Mark Andrews also, we'll say he's must start as well at this point. Isaiah Likely is out. Andrews has flashed back to life over these past few weeks, and with Likely out, Andrews soaks up all of the tight end routes, snaps, targets, routes run, all of that stuff outside. Charlie Kolar will get his opportunities, but Andrews figures to see a larger workload without Likely. And Mike Gesicki is on the streaming radar at tight end. If you're desperate, maybe you have Brock Bowers, maybe you have David Njoku, maybe you have Tucker Kraft. I'm just naming guys that are on bye, or maybe you're dealing with an injury somewhere. Mike Gesicki is on the streaming radar tonight. He caught 2 touchdowns on Sunday against the Raiders. We're not expecting that against Baltimore on the road on a short week. We'll take, obviously 1 touchdown would be glorious. We will take something in the 5-catch, 50-yard range and hope for obviously a little bit more somewhere in that territory. And obviously hope, for a little bit more optimism that he performs a little bit better than that. Hopefully that's the floor that he hits. You can fire Gesicki up as probably a top 8 or 9 option at tight end this week. Isaiah Likely is out. T. Higgins is out. Rashad Bateman, Nelson Aguilar, Deontay Johnson. I wouldn't start any of these guys. This is a fluid situation with their ancillary wide receivers. We didn't see Deontay do anything in his Ravens debut last week, literally anything. I think he played around 17 snaps, didn't draw a target. That's not going to remain the same for the rest of the season, but right now his ceiling is difficult to project. Hell, his floor is difficult to project. This was not the most ideal landing spot for Deontay from a fantasy perspective. He could still turn a corner and produce. We might need to just be patient with him. But as of right now, you cannot play him. You cannot play Deontay Johnson. Justice Hill, Andre Yosivas is a desperation dart throw, perhaps in larger leagues that start 3 wide receivers. He has caught 3 touchdowns in 4 games played without T. Higgins. So he kind of operates as like a dart throw tight end. You're pretty much just hoping for a touchdown from him. Dart throw wide receiver. And then Khalil Herbert, we're not playing in his first game with the team on the road against Baltimore. That's not happening. Okay. I'll go over next. I'll go over injury updates. I see MVM. What's going on, MVM? Good to see you. What's going on, Greg? What's going on, Derek? What's going on, Crumply Heads? Just special shout out to all my members. As always, and of course, welcome in everybody. Hopefully everybody's having a good Thursday. We'll go over injury updates. We'll then go over member questions first. If anybody's feeling generous enough or so inclined to send a super, you don't have to, but that would also be a line jumper. And then I will get to everybody else's questions. So I am answering questions. Please do not spam the chat with the same, with multiple comments of the same question. I promise I will get to your question. I promise I will see it. Just taking inventory on the different items that may help answer or at least start to shape a potential answer for start-sit questions in advance of looking at them specifically. For today, the latest injury updates that we have. Keaton Mitchell and Khalil Herbert are both expected to play tonight. Herbert making his Bengals debut, Keaton Mitchell making his 2024 debut. So we'll see what things look like behind Derrick Henry if Keaton Mitchell usurps Justice Hill a little bit. But Keaton Mitchell, the best get better. The backfield gets deeper for Baltimore with Keaton Mitchell's return. Dak Prescott still collecting information and different opinions on his hamstring injury. The last I saw, according to the ESPN ticker, is that 2 different opinions have suggested that the surgery that he does require will take longer than the standard 4-week IR absence. So presumably Dak has received multiple opinions that his injury will take longer than 4 weeks to heal, which is now a minimum IR stint that you can serve and still be activated to return. Dak's going to need more time than that. The Cowboys are sitting at 3-5. CeeDee Lamb is week to week with an AC joint sprain, but he is practicing on a limited basis. This is dicey. This is obviously really dicey. We're just going to have to stay tuned. So don't expect Dak for at least the next month. It is week 10. The earliest we will maybe see him is week 14. That is the last week before the fantasy playoffs start in most leagues. That is the earliest he could come back, and the current projections are he's going to need even longer than that. For all intents and purposes, Dak's fantasy season is probably over, even though his official regular season for the NFL has not yet been declared over. You probably cannot rely on Dak in one quarterback leagues for the rest of the fantasy season, including the fantasy playoffs. Superflex, you have to hang on to him. Hopefully you have an IR spot to stash him, and you just need to hope for the best. If for whatever reason Dallas is in fact in the hunt and playing for something in week 16 or week 17, then he could return and could play conceivably. But obviously that's a very specific scenario that needs to play out, and we're a long way off from that. In one quarterback leagues, it is looking highly unlikely that you will have Dak Prescott or can comfortably rely on Dak Prescott for the rest of the year. So that being said, what to do, if anybody's got any questions about CeeDee Lamb, we probably need to wait a week and see if he can alleviate any concerns about, one, his availability, and two, his ability to still produce with Cooper Rush as his quarterback. So let's maybe try to be a little patient with CeeDee Lamb if we have him. But yeah, we're looking at some potential bad scenarios with the Cowboys offense. Juju Smith-Schuster not practicing for the Chiefs for a second straight day. Jonathan Brooks fully practices for a second straight day and was activated to the Panthers' active roster. That does not necessarily mean that he will play this week. Also, Chuba Hubbard is fresh off of a new contract extension with the team, 4 years, I believe, $33 million. Chuba gets paid. So congratulations to Chuba. That kind of puts a damper on Jonathan Brooks. Wasn't expecting a Chuba Hubbard a contract extension to that extent. That figures to lock Chuba into a significant role for at least the short term. So the optimism that we had about Jonathan Brooks is kind of dwindling at this point, at least for the rest of this season. But we'll see. We'll give him the opportunity to get on the field first before we declare it over, before it even starts. Adam Thielen still not practicing, so Xavier Legette, Jalen Coker continue to look like dart throws for Carolina at wide receiver. Darius Slayton is not expected to travel to Germany with the Giants, so Jalen Hyatt is going to get an opportunity to see extended opportunities. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown practicing for the Eagles. Amari Cooper practicing for the Bills, but Keon Coleman is not. It's not looking like Keon Coleman will be able to suit up this week. Michael Pittman did not practice for the second straight day on Thursday. The Colts wide receivers have not practiced a lot this year collectively, only to end up playing on Sundays anyway. So let's just keep an eye on things with the Colts, but they have played more often than not. The wide receivers have in recent weeks, even though both being on the injury report. Drake London limited with the hip injury. Continue to monitor that. Tony Pollard not practicing on Thursday. Pollard didn't practice last week and still played, so let's keep an eye on that. Chris Olave not practicing on Thursday. Don't expect to see Chris Olave anytime soon. It sounds like he is meeting with independent specialists and neurologists about his future, his play, like his opportunity to play again after suffering 4th or 5th documented concussion last week. Don't expect to see Chris Olave anytime soon. Obviously, his health comes first. Trevor Lawrence, we're getting conflicting reports on. Limited in practice for a second straight day on Thursday, but the Jags said that he is unlikely or is looking likely to miss week 10 and they're currently weighing all of their options. So it's a very vague situation going on in Jacksonville. He's day to day, but is a candidate for surgery. That makes no sense. That doesn't add up. We'll take things one day at a time. But obviously, if Trevor Lawrence has to miss time, then Evan Ingram and Brian Thomas and that's about it for their pass catchers. It's just pretty much Brian Thomas and Evan Ingram. Stock down on both of them. And, Thomas is on the injury report with a chest injury. Ingram's been out of the lineup with a hamstring issue earlier this year. So we'll see what happens with Jacksonville's pass catchers. But if Lawrence is out, then that's not good. Yep, T. Higgins not playing tonight. Mike Gesicki, decent stream. Christian McCaffrey, again, limited in practice. Practiced again Thursday is what I should say. Limited, second straight day. Presumably activated to the active roster. Apparently is not in any pain, which is good. So we'll see what McCaffrey's workload and usage looks like if he does, in fact, play this week. If he does, you don't need me to tell you what you have to do. You activate him off of IR and you put him in your starting lineup. All right, I think that's everything as far as the latest injury updates. I can now take a look at questions. And again, for anybody just joining or didn't hear my spiel earlier, or maybe you are new, whatever the case, welcome in. Thanks for coming in and hanging out. I will be getting to member questions first. There's a little icon next to their username that indicates that they are members. That is a perk of being a member of the channel. You will get questions answered and comments responded to in priority order. If anybody is feeling generous enough to send a super, you do not have to, but if you choose to, that would also be a line jumper to get your questions answered at a faster time. Otherwise, I will get to everybody after all of those, after member and super questions. So I just ask for some patience. Please do not flood the chat with comments of the same question. I promise I will get to it. Appreciate your patience. Appreciate waiting it out. Thanks for coming in and hanging out. If you are enjoying the stream, whether you're a member or not, I only ask that you consider liking the stream. That helps me out for algorithm purposes. Appreciate that. Like I said earlier, MVM, Greg, Derek, Crumply Heads. Anybody else? That's it for now, but we'll keep an eye out. Let's get to your questions. Trade Nico for Debo. Is that Taysom Hill? There's no way that's Tyreek Hill. You're not getting all three of those names for one, right? Do you trade Nico Collins for Debo, Marvin Harrison, or is that if it's? I assume that's Taysom Hill. That would be nuts if it's Tyreek Hill. If it's Tyreek Hill, then you absolutely have to do it because a 3-for-1 is insane. If it's Taysom Hill, I mean, you're still getting a 3-for-1. And especially if you're somebody who needs healthy players now. Did Nico have a practice status from today? I didn't see one. Debo, speaking of Debo, him and Jawan Jennings limited in practice today. What is Nico's practice status? Was not spotted at practice on Thursday. So it's not looking good that Nico will play this week. So it depends on your situation, MVM. I mean, I still want to hang on to Nico if I'm I'm in a great spot. I have a good record. I'm cruising to the playoffs. That being said, a 3-for-1 is always super enticing. I don't know if it's Tyreek Hill, then I think you need to smash accept. And you do have to smash accept. Nico's incredible, but to get 3-for-1 of that caliber would be insane. If it's Taysom Hill, then I'm still intrigued because you're getting a really good, healthy player in Debo. He's presumably healthy. He's on the injury report, but he's expected to play this week. Marvin Harrison is healthy, but has been up and down this year. And then again, without knowing the specific hill it is, if it's Tyreek, you have to make the deal. If it's Taysom, and you could use healthy bodies now to because you need a win, then I would make the trade. If you need the healthy bodies now, then take the healthy players. If you're cruising to the playoffs and you like your depth and you want to hang on to Nico Collins, then that would be understandable. You're waiting for him to come back, and you'll be, you feel good about your team going into the playoffs with a healthy Nico Collins. Then okay, fine. But a 3-for-1 is enticing no matter what, and especially if you need the healthy players, then I'm okay with it. As far as any of these guys to drop for Brooks, I mean, if you can't, Nico is not back yet. Jennings is limited. Dobbs, Worthy, Sutton, London. There's a lot of ragtag wide receivers that you have, and you don't have anybody. MVM, let's wait. Let's wait on this. Let's not do anything just yet because you don't have anybody playing in tonight's game. So there's no urgency to activate somebody on IR just because they are no longer IR eligible. Brooks might not play in this game, and he might get ruled back to being out anyway. And then you end it, as it turns out, you in that scenario, you would have dropped somebody for nothing. Let's just wait. None of these have any impact on tonight's game, so there's no urgency to make a move. We'll make a move on Sunday if we have to. If Brooks is active for the game, we'll make a call then. But for now, let's just leave things as they are. Yeah. It's okay to have illegal rosters, like a healthy player in IR, and just keep things the way it is until you absolutely have to make a decision, which is on game day, if it doesn't impact the Thursday night game. And this lineup, this roster isn't impacted by tonight's game. So let's do nothing for now. Let's hang on to all those players. We'll make a decision when we have to. What's going on, Greg? Yeah, I think Liggett is a perfectly fine stash. It's good if you got Jones instead of Trevor Lawrence. No, you got Daniel Jones. I mean, if you want to grab Stafford but not spend a lot of FOB to get him, if you want to try to get him instead of and drop Lawrence for him and then just rock with Jones and Stafford, that's fine. But I wouldn't sweat it. You have a quarterback for this week, and when you're streaming quarterbacks, that's all that matters. So you can, if you want to throw a little bit of FOB at Stafford, go for it. But if you miss out, that's okay. We'll worry about your week 11 quarterback in week 11. Yeah. Throw it in the Discord, Grumpy Heads. We can take a look at it. Oh, you had a deal. Okay. Yep. I'm glad. Yeah, you can probably drop Dak. Dak in one quarterback leagues. If you want to wait until he's officially ruled out, that's fine. But I'm telling you, I don't think you're going to confidently feel good going back to him at any point for the rest of this fantasy season. Dak is on the outs in one quarterback leagues. Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised. Yep. Higgins out. Ravens favorable matchup. Gesicki. Yep. Good spot for sure. Yeah, we'll see what he can do. What's up, Armando? Good to see you. Is that Deontay Johnson or Demarcus Robinson? You have to play one and drop one for a defense. Man, I don't want to drop Deontay. Deontay is so weird right now because I don't want to drop him because I know he's good, But this was like the least ideal scenario for him to end up in from a fantasy perspective. And he did nothing last week, which is not a total surprise, but there's no way we can play him tonight. I don't think Puka is expected to like get suspended or anything like that as far as the Rams go and miss any time. So that doesn't make Demarcus Robinson any more like appealing. He goes back to being a dart throw if Puka and Kupp go into that game as the starters, which they will. If you have to play one of these guys, I mean, I can't play Deontay tonight. I can't play Deontay tonight. I would, and I'm not dropping Algier. Algier is playing the Saints this week, so he's actually the most viable start. Can you start Algier over one of these two receivers? I don't want to drop Deontay Johnson, but I would probably drop Demarcus Robinson. I guess. So if I'm not willing to drop Deontay, it's got to be Demarcus Robinson because I wouldn't drop Algier. No, Algier is valuable running back depth. So it's got to be Robinson as the drop. And if you can play Algier instead of Deontay, I would do that. And I'm not rostering any of these guys over Algier or Deontay, especially not Slayton. Slayton's not going to play this week. But yeah, can you play Algier and not play either of those receivers? I would hope that's the case. But let me know. You have Hawkinson and Ferguson, Greg. No, let's not. No, we're not. Go with Hawkinson. Who are they playing? Who are the Vikings playing? It's Jacksonville, I think. I would play Hawkinson. Ferguson is now playing with Cooper Rush. Ferguson is now, I mean, we'll see how things go. But like Ferguson is more of a bench stash if you have two tight ends. If you only have one tight end, you might as well play Ferguson. But if he's your only option, then you might as well play him and see how he does. But if you have two tight end options, just play the other one. And let's stash Ferguson. And if he struggles with Cooper Rush, then maybe we're cutting ties. Maybe we're moving on from Fergie Ferg. For now, though, I would play Hawkinson, Greg, and leave Ferguson on the bench. And then Pittsburgh's defense over the Lions. The Lions have the Texans this week, and I think that game is in Houston. Pittsburgh's on the road against Washington. Houston is probably a more favorable matchup for an opposing defense than Washington is, although Pittsburgh's been okay, but they haven't been great. Yeah, I'd probably play the Lions, Greg. I'd probably stream I don't want to drop the Steelers because I know they're still good. They have talent, but I would play the Lions over the Steelers this week. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Got to do it. Got to move on from Dak in one quarterback leagues. I don't think we can rely on him rest of the fantasy season. This is for your wide receiver too. Okay. Okay. Well, for the rest of the season, I'd rather have Deontay Johnson, but for just this week, I'd rather have Demarcus Robinson. I mean, you can probably drop Ray Davis. I know that's I know he made a big play. I know he made a big play this past week, but he kind of just remains a stash. I want to play Robinson this week. I want to sit Deontay, but I want to keep Deontay for the rest of the season, or at least for the next couple of weeks to see how things shake out before I drop him. Let's see how he does after a couple of weeks in the playbook, in the system, before we completely give up on him. But I don't want to play him this week. I would rather play Robinson. You already have Algier as decent running back depth. I would drop Ray Davis. If you could. And then that way you can pick up your defense while playing Robinson this week and then keeping Deontay moving forward after this week. You could potentially get Ray Davis back for Demarcus Robinson if you want to make that move after the fact. And then if Deontay, emerges in this Ravens offense, then we can hang on to him. And if he doesn't in a couple weeks' time, then we can move on. I would keep Judy. Especially if you're thin at wide receiver, I would keep Judy. I know he's on bye this week, but he's been solid the past 3 weeks. So I would keep Judy. I would drop Ray Davis. That's where I would go. I think that's all of the member questions for now, but I will obviously keep an eye out for any more. Let's go on back up to the top. Appreciate everybody's patience. This is like a full league question. I mean, yeah, I think, Adunze over Waddle is, I guess, fine. Yeah, this is fine. Well, you're gonna put McCaffrey in your lineup either in the flex spot for Adunze or in the RB2 spot for Algier when McCaffrey gets activated. If he plays, you're putting him in your lineup. Everything else looks good. Everything else looks fine. And you're not changing your kicker or your defense. You don't need to. If you have McCaffrey, you're going to put McCaffrey into this lineup if he's activated. It could be over Adunze. It could be over Algier. It doesn't. That's up to you. But McCaffrey's coming into your lineup. I guess if it's full PPR, I slightly prefer. Adunze to Algier. So I guess take Algier out for McCaffrey. But yeah, everything else is right. Everything else looks good. The Rams have the Dolphins this week. The Rams defense isn't good, though. No, the Minnesota Vikings get the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are maybe starting Mac Jones at quarterback. No, play the Vikings. I look at the Vikings defense, who are past their bye week. They have a good front seven. They're good at creating pressure, and this is a solid team overall. I'm just going to play the Vikings until they give me multiple weeks in a row of a reason not to. And so far, they haven't done that. No more. I'm not. If I have the Vikings defense, I'm not worrying about making a pickup for another defense for a month. Other good matchups, don't care, because the Vikings are good. They have a good defense, and they have good enough matchups rest of the way, including this week against the Vikings. Or against the Vikings are playing the Jags. They have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah. They have Jacksonville, they have Tennessee, they have Chicago, they have Arizona for the next 4 weeks. I'm not picking up another defense if I have the Minnesota Vikings for at least a month. No. Nope. I'm not picking up the Rams. Just play the Vikings. You have Lamar and Darnold. You're starting Lamar. No, this is no. I hear. Okay, I see you have stacks, and Sam Darnold has been great. Lamar Jackson is the MVP of the league right now. He's QB1 in fantasy or most weeks, if not QB2 or QB3. His upside is insane. No, you're playing Lamar. You play Lamar. You play Lamar. If Addison and Hawkinson have to be in your starting lineup, then fine. You're playing Lamar Jackson. I love stacks, but this is not a situation where I'm playing a stack. Not over Lamar Jackson. No. Yeah, you play Lamar. You play Lamar, and you play Lamar with confidence. And then as far as, I would probably play Hawkinson over Kincaid. Kincaid has been pretty disappointing. I would probably play. And Hawkinson did about what I expected last week. He contributed, but he didn't go nuts. Now he's got a game under his belt. We can fire him up over somebody like Dalton Kincaid, who has been disappointing, especially against Jacksonville. This is a great matchup. Yeah, I would play Hawkinson over Kincaid. Everything else is right. Everything else looks good. Daniel Jones or Stafford? I would probably go Daniel Jones. He gets Carolina. I know that he is he's so up and down, and he's so difficult to trust. And any given week, he could give you like a horrendous performance. But he gets the Carolina Panthers. This is as good of a matchup as it gets. What are his rushing numbers over the past few weeks? Last week, Jones ran for 54 rushing yards. He only got 1 rushing yard, week 8. But 20 in week 7, 56 in week 6, 38 in week 5. So he's cleared 20 yards rushing 4 of his past 5 games. Man, it's just it's a good matchup, and he'll run. He's just tough to trust because he's not good. Stafford is a floor play if you think you can get away with like playing it safe, but it's a bad matchup. Daniel Jones is an upside swing for the fences play if you are an underdog and you think you need to play aggressive. That's how I would play it. Yeah, that's how I would play it. Depends. I see another member question, so let me grab that. Do you drop Bigsby or Worthy for... No. Singletary has lost his job and is now incredibly unappealing. Like, the RB2 in a bad offense is not a running back that I care to stash. Corum hasn't done anything. He's viable, obviously, if anything happens to Kyron, but he doesn't have any standalone value. And Jalen Wright, same can be said. He just doesn't have the standalone value. Bigsby does. Worthy does. No. Keep your pieces. Keep the pieces that you have. So, yeah. Keep the pieces you have. Back onto my spot in line. Stafford floor, Daniel Jones ceiling, but his floor is low. And then JMO or Demarcus Robinson, I would probably go Jamison Williams, regardless of what you think you need. He's back in the lineup. He can make a big play on any given play. Demarcus Robinson goes back to a reserve role behind Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, assuming Puka Nacua doesn't try to fight anybody else this week like he tried to last week. But I would go JMO. Robinson will go back to being a depth piece behind Kupp and Puka. Excuse me. Let's see. Where am I at? I got my member questions. Would I play Gesicki over Ferguson? I think so. I think so because Gesicki gets to catch passes from Joe Burrow, and there's no T. Higgins. Now Ferguson has to catch passes from Cooper Rush. It's just not as ideal of a situation. It's not a great matchup by the numbers as well. I would play Gesicki. Over Ferguson. I don't like play. I will be. Let me just caveat: I'm not crazy about playing players on a short week, especially on the road. But there's exceptions to every rule. I think the Ravens are a pretty good matchup. They're a decent matchup for opposing tight ends. They're not a great matchup for opposing tight ends, but they're an upper echelon matchup. by the numbers. They've only allowed one receiving tight end touchdown to tight ends. The Ravens have, but they've allowed over 600 yards receiving yards to opposing tight ends, and that is top 3 in the league. The Eagles, on the other hand, have been stingy against opposing tight ends. And Ferguson is catching passes from Cooper Rush, so that's a downgrade. Yeah, I'll take Gesicki. The matchup is better. The situation is better for him. I'll take Gesicki over Ferguson this week. Yes. Yes. Flex. Hawkinson, Taysom Hill, I don't like playing 2 tight ends, so I would just pick 1 tight end. I guess my answer is Hawkinson over Taysom Hill. I mean, yeah, with all their injuries, Taysom Hill, expanded role, all of that stuff. I would probably I'll play Demario Douglas against the Bears because I don't want to play, I just don't want to play 2 tight ends. I just don't want to I just am not a fan of playing 2 tight ends if I don't have to. I'd rather just pick one and hope for the best. So give me Demario Douglas. I will say Hill is an upside play if you think you need to be aggressive, and I'll say Hawkinson is more safe, is a safer play, lower ceiling, but maybe a higher floor than Taysom Hill, depending on what you need. But I would play Demario Douglas for sure because I just don't like playing 2 tight ends. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Welcome in, and thanks for your patience. Andrews or Hawkinson? So Andrews tonight obviously doesn't have Isaiah Likely to contend with for opportunities, and he's rounding into form recently. Hawkinson, while I like as a decent floor play tonight or this week, still, only a week removed from his debut, and Andrews has come on strong the past couple of weeks. I think I would play Andrews tonight. He didn't do anything last week, 2 catches, 26 yards, but the Broncos, the Ravens boat raced the Broncos. It was a blowout, and they didn't really need to throw the ball a ton in that matchup. They probably are going to have to throw the ball a little bit more tonight against the Bengals. So I'll take Andrews. I'll take Andrews. But thanks for subscribing. Hopefully you stick around. Let's see. Full PPR, McBride or Gesicki. So, Gesicki is an intriguing streamer tonight, but I'm not playing him over guys like Trey McBride, who are more of a mainstay. I know McBride is frustrating from the perspective that he hasn't caught a touchdown yet this year. He's run for one, right? And he's recovered one in the end zone. But he is commanding a massive target share. He's racking up the production regardless. He's a guy that we drafted expected to be a high-end frontline option at the tight end position, and more often than not, he has been good enough. I'll take McBride. I will take a guy who's a little bit more of a mainstay right now, like McBride, like Gesicki or Dalton Kincaid. That's fair. That's understandable. Kincaid has been disappointing. I would play McBride over Gesicki, though. Been more consistent. Otten or McBride, though, I would probably play Otten. Otten is now in top 3 territory. He's top 3 for this week for sure because Bowers is on a bye. It's Kittle, it's Kelsey, and it's Cade Otten, and then I would probably say McBride. And then I don't know. We're maybe looking at Gesicki, honestly, at that point. Otten, I would put top 3. So I don't have McBride top 3. I have McBride top 5, but not top 3. Otten is top 3. He is on fire right now. And Mike Evans is going to miss another week. I mean, Cade Otten. George Kittle, I'll play over Cade Otten, and Travis Kelce out of respect of Travis Kelce, even though Otten has been outperforming Kelce recently. I may start Kelce over Otten, but that's it. That's it. And if you want to put Otten at 2 or even number 1 overall this week, I wouldn't fight that. There's the breaking news. Christian McCaffrey expected to play week 10. You already know what you need to do. If you have Christian McCaffrey, you will activate him off IR. It could be tonight if you need to. It could be Sunday at the last second. You will be activating Christian McCaffrey off of injured reserve, and you will be putting him into your starting lineup. According to head coach Kyle Shanahan, Christian McCaffrey is expected to make his return and play this Sunday in Tampa Bay. So if you have Christian McCaffrey, congratulations. You can fire him up this week. Andrew. So again, Andrews or Hawk, and I'm good. Mark Andrews tonight over TJ Hawkinson on Sunday. It's a great matchup for Hawkinson, but it's a good matchup for Andrews tonight as well. Isaiah Likely is out. He had a down week last week. Andrews did, but that was mostly game script. I expect that this will be a closer game with potential for more points to be scored, given the offense that the Ravens are facing this time around. Last week, it was the Denver Broncos. This week, it's a different animal. It's the Cincinnati Bengals. I would expect scoring it has a chance to be higher. Therefore, Andrews will be more involved. And with no Isaiah Likely, he's got a decent chance to come through. I'll take him over Hawkinson. And Crumply Heads, again, for anybody just joining, whether you're new, whether you've been around the block, welcome in. Thanks for hanging out tonight. Just as a reminder, I do have to get to my members first. That is a perk of being a member of the channel. If I see a member question pop in, I will be taking it. And then I will get to everybody else. Appreciate y'all's patience. Crumply Heads dropped his rosters in my Discord, so I just have to run through that really quickly. But I see all of your questions. If I haven't gotten to them, I promise I will be getting to them. Appreciate your patience. Just moving through member questions right now. We're starting Ricky Pearsall in this league. Damn. Over who? Yeah, over Deontay. Higgins is out. Yup. And Nico Collins is not looking good to play. Tillman's on bye. Josh Jacobs on bye. Yeah, this all makes sense. This first one makes sense. Crumply Heads. Ricky Pearsall, come on down. That is a dart throw. But we'll see what happens. Wandale, over Boyd, over Ty Conklin. Yep, all that all looks good. Just running through, there's one more roster I'm going through in the Discord right now that Crumply had shared. I'm going through them really quickly, and then I will come back to the chat. Appreciate everybody's patience. Looks like there's an open wide receiver spot in this third screenshot, Crumply Heads. So that's probably where, you have a bevy of options to choose from in this league. You could go Terry McLaurin. You could go Lat McConkey. You could go Amari Cooper if he plays. Damn. Yeah, I guess I would go Terry. It's either Terry or Lad McConkey, I think. We have time on that one. We have time to think on that one, Crumply Heads. We have time. I would say let's see if we get any more vibes or anything to think about between now and Sunday with those guys, but you don't have to make a decision on that tonight. So we can take our time on that one. Because if Amari plays, then he's in play, but if he's out, then it makes it easier. Yeah. Let's give that one some time. But everything else looks good. If you could pick up Jennings, that's fine as well. I would probably prefer to play Jennings over Pearsall if you can make that happen. Let's see. And let me finish this question. Crumply Heads, let me know if you need anything else, but appreciate everybody's patience as I work through those start-sit questions. Kyler or Stroud, both have been pretty disappointing this year. Stroud gets the Lions at home. That's a good matchup. Kyler gets the Jets at home. That's not a good matchup. I'll take Stroud. Even if Nico is out another week, He's at home in a matchup where it's favorable. The Lions can be had through the air. So I'll take Stroud. I'll take Stroud at home against the Lions. Their secondary is beatable, and you know they're going to have to throw. They've both been disappointing, though. They've both been disappointing. Kyler or Cousins, this is probably where I would try to take the upside on Kyler. I might be getting a little bit greedy and hoping that he runs a little bit more, even though it is a bad matchup by the numbers. I would probably take Kyler here. Cousins just might not need to do that much against the Saints, who are bottoming out. And while he might come through with some passing scores, it's a distinct possibility that the Falcons are able to handle the Saints with some relative ease. The Saints are officially going nowhere this year. Their team is not good. Their defense is awful. This could be a game where Cousins just doesn't have to throw the ball that much. So I'll take Kyler. Taysom Hill or Gesicki. Both are decent options. I do like Gesicki as a stream. I guess Taysom Hill, no Chris Olave, no Rashid Shaheed, Kendre Miller is on IR. Okay, maybe Taysom Hill. Over Gesicki. They're both good options, but maybe Taysom Hill. Now that I think about it, Olave is not gonna play. Kendre Miller was put on IR. That apparently was like a BS erroneous thing that Dennis Allen did. Did anybody else see that? Like, it's well documented at this point that Dennis Allen doesn't like Kendre Miller, but apparently, like, when he put Kendre Miller on IR, it was like a shock to the coaching staff and the players. Like, they didn't expect it. That dude was not a good. You can't hold personal grudges as a head coach, man. Like, come on, you're stunting the growth of a young player. Like, just out of what? For what reason? And then you went and got yourself fired. Come on, man. Anyway, the Saints are in bad shape on offense. They need to use Taysom Hill. So sure, I guess I'll say Taysom Hill over Gesicki. Not Taysom Hill, not over George Kittle, not over Travis Kelce, not over Kate Otten, not over Trey McBride, but maybe over everybody else. And then Gesicki, and then, I don't know, I guess I would have said Evan Ingram, but now Trevor Lawrence is out, so I don't know, maybe Kyle Pitts against the Saints. And then Jatavian Sanders, if you're still looking for a stream at tight end. Not a great matchup this week, but I did put a little video out this week about Jatavian Sanders and how he could be flying under the radar at tight end. It is a barren wasteland out there, folks. And if Trevor Lawrence is out for the year, that might kill Evan Ingram. If Dak Prescott is out for the year, that might kill Jake Ferguson. It gets even more fun in tight end land. I got the member questions. I would start Gesicki over Freiermuth. Again, the matchup is really good. Freiermuth, he's a good player. I don't want to get it twisted. He's a good football player. I just feel like his usage is from a production perspective is not consistent. It's not a bad matchup. Yeah, I mean, the past 3 weeks, week 8, they were on a bye last week, but 2 for 19, 2 for 51. He made a big play against the Jets week 7, but it was 2 catches, 51 yards. Yeah, he's had 1 tight end week this year. No, we're playing Gesicki over Freiermuth for sure. I got my member questions. Appreciate my members as always for the support of the channel. Let's see, where am I at? Stafford, Rodgers, or Murray. So again, I'll take Kyler. He's so frustrating. He's very annoying, but he's got good upside. He might run for 75 yards. He might run for 4 yards. Like he's a true all or nothing play. But Aaron Rodgers, I know he tossed 3 touchdowns against Houston on a short week, and he gets a decent matchup against Arizona this week. But I don't know. I just feel like we don't have the Aaron Rodgers ceiling of old anymore, and so I'm always going to hesitate to play him outside of a superflex format. I'll take a chance on Kyler because of his scrambling abilities, and Stafford. I mean, he needed an overtime touchdown. He lost Puka for most of the game. So he didn't have one of his weapons that we were expecting him to have during the game, but he needed an overtime touchdown last week for his score to get kind of bailed out. And it happened. It's on the box score. So kudos to Matthew Stafford for making it happen. But it's a tough matchup by the numbers against the Dolphins. So he's intriguing as a QB2, but I don't know that he has QB1 upside this week. I'll take Kyler and just hope for the best, even though he is a frustrating guy to be firing up this year. And let's see. Sit tight, Gerald, Homie, Ray, Jeff. I see all of your questions. Theo, it's good to see you, Theo. Dylan, Derek, hang on. I see you guys. I just got to get to my member questions first, but appreciate y'all's patience. I will get to you guys. Promise I'll get to your questions. Would I trade Gibbs for Chubb and 2 firsts? Not if I'm competing this year. I would do that trade. I would do that trade if I'm rebuilding. But even still, Gibbs is a top 5 dynasty running back. Nick Chubb is, for dynasty purposes, more of an RB3 at this point, just based on how much longer he's going to play and how effective he might be from here on out as a 28-year-old running back who sustained a major knee injury. I mean, the 2 first-round picks are nice in theory. But like Nick Chubb is an RB3 at this point in Dynasty. Gibbs is a top 5 running back. If it's a rebuild, can you get off a Chubb? Yeah, it's okay. You don't have to send the roster. Can you get out of I don't know. I know, and sometimes you just got to take on like certain players to get back like a pick haul for a good player. But I mean, I don't know. I don't want Chubb. I want a young player and 2 firsts for Gibbs. And maybe that's being greedy. Maybe that's being greedy of me. But Gibbs is a top 5 dynasty running back. He is worth his weight in gold. Yeah, I don't know. If you need to shave points to like secure the number 1 overall pick, I guess I get it. But like, I don't know, man. Gibbs is in such a good situation in that Lions offense for the next 5 years, 5-6 years, hopefully longer. Like it's not unfair, but I don't want Chubb in a rebuild just to get 2 first-round picks for a top 5 running back. I would play hardball, and if nobody is willing to meet a high asking price, then I would just hold. He's a stud. He's a young stud. Isn't he like 20? He's still like 22 years old. I'd rather just hang on. Not for Chubb in a rebuild. But let me know what you decide to do. Crumbly Heads, and we can go from there. My thoughts on Keaton Mitchell tonight and moving forward. I like Keaton Mitchell. He's an explosive player, but he's coming off of a torn ACL that he suffered late last year. So I'm not expecting... It's going to take a couple of weeks. but I believe he suffered a clean ACL break. And what I mean by that is I don't think he suffered any additional damage. Like I don't think there was damage to his LCL or his MCL. So you're a little bit more optimistic about his ability to contribute and produce sooner than later. I wouldn't expect it tonight. He is a stash and a stash only, but if you've been holding him for this long, you might as well hang on and see what you got for at least a couple of weeks. I would say by week, say 13, 14, just in time for the fantasy playoffs, he could be, back to creating explosive plays here and there out of the backfield. But obviously, it's not as murky of a Ravens backfield as it was last year. It's not as wide open as it was last year because Derrick Henry is doing Derrick Henry things. I like Keaton Mitchell. He offers big play pop when healthy. I just don't know how many opportunities he's going to get now that it's Derrick Henry leading the backfield instead of Gus Edwards. And Justice Hill was also just rewarded with a contract extension. So good player. Not a great situation overall, though. Not for fantasy anyway. Got you. Yeah, I would hold him, Crumply Heads. He's so freaking good. I would play him, or I would hold him. No, don't drop. So just like I said, don't drop Mitchell. If you have a legal starting line, or if you have the starting lineup set that you intend to play this week, then I wouldn't do anything. If you need to make a roster move eventually, whether it's for tonight, I don't think it's for tonight because I don't want to play Deontay Johnson. He can stay on your bench. Tillman's on bye. Bucky, I'm probably not playing this week. I want to hang on to Keaton Mitchell. You stashed him this long, maybe see what he is. If you have your starting lineup set for the week, I wouldn't do anything. If you have to make the roster space, then I guess of this group, I would drop Mitchell outright, but I would hope that you can just hang on to him. And don't worry about the fact that you have like an illegal lineup or an illegal roster if your starting lineup is set for this week. Hopefully it is. Gesicki or Kincaid? Yeah, I would play Gesicki. Kincaid has been disappointing. I guess he's got maybe he has another opportunity or an expanded opportunity this week if Keon Coleman can't play, but they might get Amari Cooper back. And then it's just like we're playing the same song and dance where Kincaid is not commanding the targets necessary for us to rely on him or believe in him. I would play Gesicki tonight. No T. Higgins. His role has expanded for the Bengals. Eric All, their rookie tight end, is now out for the season and placed on injured reserve. So Gesicki's going to continue to get expanded opportunities this year. And it's a good matchup by the numbers. The Ravens are allowing top 3 receiving yardage overall to opposing tight ends this year. So I would play Gesicki over Kincaid. Yeah, I'll play the tight ends I will play over Gesicki this week are Kittle, Kelsey, Cade Otton, Trey McBride, and I guess Taysom Hill, because Taysom Hill is probably going to get goal line opportunities as a runner. He's gonna run routes. He's gonna line up as a quarterback and do wildcat stuff. Like, I'll take Taysom Hill, but after that, I think I'm starting Gesicki over anybody else. Over Kyle Pitts, over TJ Hawkinson, over Dalton Kincaid. Yeah. Gesicki's in a good spot. Okay, I got my member questions. Thank you again to my members. Appreciate all y'all. Brian Thomas or Calvin Ridley? Who do the Titans have this week? I would probably play Ridley. Brian Thomas is on the injury report, and it might be Mac Jones this week instead of Trevor Lawrence. So I don't like that as much. Ridley gets the Chargers. That's not a great matchup by the numbers. But he is still commanding, 8, 9, 10 targets a game. And with Mason Rudolph, he has a lot more catchable targets than he did with Will Levis. What is Levis's status? Practice is in full on Thursday. The Titans have yet to name a starter. Okay, so here's what you do. If Mason Rudolph starts for the Titans, you play Calvin Ridley. If Will Levis starts for the Titans, then I would play Brian Thomas, even if it's Mac Jones for them at quarterback. That's how much I don't trust Will Levis. Yeah. If it's Mason Rudolph, play Ridley. If it's Will Levis for Tennessee, then play Brian Thomas. The backup for McCaffrey, I assume, will continue to be Jordan Mason. He has played well this year. He has earned the right to stay involved in some capacity. A fully healthy and fully functioning Christian McCaffrey will see most of the snaps and touches. But that's something we know Christian McCaffrey's a baller. And we know when Christian McCaffrey's on the field, he can put up big numbers no matter how many opportunities you give him. That's the question. Is Jordan Mason going to completely go away, or are they going to completely unleash Christian McCaffrey, or is Christian McCaffrey going to be eased in and or have his workload reduced for any amount of time this year for the purpose of keeping him healthy and avoiding any potential additional issues that he has dealt with so far this year? I would think it's Mason in that scenario. He has played well. He has earned the right to stay involved. He's not going to be fantasy viable or relevant once McCaffrey is completely up to speed, which could happen, which could be the case as soon as this week. But Mason's going to be the backup, you would think. I think he's earned the right to be the change of pace option and the guy to help spell McCaffrey when they choose to. Two wide receivers and a flex, and everybody is hurt. Welcome to fantasy football. This sucks, unfortunately. But yeah, we have to wait and see how things go. I mean, you're playing CD if he's active. I would say you're probably playing. We can't expect Nico Collins to play. He's missing practice so far this week. So I don't know that Nico's prospects are looking good. But if he plays, I would say he's in. CD and Nico are automatics no matter what. If they are active, you get them into your lineup. If we aren't going to know Nico's status before Sunday night and Amari Cooper plays, then I would probably just play Amari Cooper. If none of them play, then I would play DJ Moore. But DJ Moore is fourth for me even when healthy because it's hard to trust the Bears offense right now. James Conner is the guy that I want to play in my flex, but obviously he needs to actually play. I think, Theo, we probably need to I don't want to play Mark Andrews in my flex. I think we wait. I think we wait until this weekend on the wide receivers and James Conner, see who's available to suit up and go from there. I think that's what we do. Yeah, I think that's where we go. And I would play Herbert over Kyler. Herbert is playing really well right now. And they're throwing the ball more. Going into the season, it looked like LA was going to be a run-heavy offense, and they have been at times, but they're throwing the ball more than I think anybody was expecting or prepared to give them credit for. I'll play Herbert, and Herbert's playing well. Kyler's playing average. So I would wait for the weekend and let's see who's available. Forced to start a waiver wire running back. You have to either play somebody like Singletary, Akers. That's real bad, bare bones, or Keaton Mitchell. Man, that's rough. Is Roschon Johnson available? Could you play Roschon? That's maybe where I would go. If he's not available, I don't know. Is Justice Hill available? If he's not available, if I guess at that point, if Roschon Johnson is not available and Justice Hill is not available, I would play. I guess I would play Singletary because it's Carolina, so at least they give up a lot of production to opposing running backs. So either Singletary or Tracy could come through in that matchup. If Roschon's not available, then I would play Singletary of this group. That's what I would do. At least he's in a great matchup. We need to drop 2. McMillan, Coker, Lockett, Spears. Did you put AJ Brown on injured reserve? I guess you maybe put AJ Brown on injured reserve. Coker can be dropped. Coker can be dropped. I would hold Lockett. I wouldn't drop Lockett. I know he's on, is he on bye this week? I believe he's on bye this week, but he had a nice showing last week with catching a touchdown, so I wouldn't drop him. You can drop McMillan and Coker. I would keep Lockett and I would hang on to Spears. I would still hang on to Spears for some running back depth. I know he's not done anything this year, but if he's able to get healthy and produce it during the stretch run, then he enters the rotation or the potential rotation at the most crucial time of the year. And at that point, it's like we'll take any options. We'll take all healthy available options that we can get, especially at running back. So I kind of want to hang on to Spears. You can drop McMillan and Coker. You can drop those 2 guys. What's up, Rojo? Good to see you. Herbert what's the in redraft? I'm not sure I'm following, but Herbert's been playing, or Herbert for Khalil Herbert for Cincinnati. Yeah. No, not yet. Not yet. We're not going there. We're not going there. Would I trade Pollard for Downs or Mooney? Well, first of all, I think I would play Quentin Johnston over Deontay Johnson tonight. Johnston, you're just hoping for you're hoping for a bomb for a score, which he has been able to do. Deontay, we just don't know what his usage is going to look like tonight or in general moving forward. So I'll take Quentin Johnston over Deontay Johnson. As far as trading Pollard for Downs or Mooney, I would, if you run 5 deep at running back now, including Pollard, and you still have 4 really good options after you trade Pollard and you're addressing a need at wide receiver, then I'm okay with either one. Mooney is probably the preference. His quarterback situation is better, but Mooney or Downs is fine. As long as your running backs are really good and you have at least 4 of them, and if you need the wide receiver help, then I'm okay with it. But your running backs have to be solid. You need to be able to say, I have 4 strong options after this trade. And I would start Quentin Johnson on Sunday, leave Deontay Johnson on the bench tonight. That goes for everybody. You traded Brian Thomas and ETN for Bucky Irving. Okay. That's a bit of a tough 2-for-1. I mean, Irving is a good player, and ETN is kind of like a nothing burger right now. I guess it actually might end up working out if Trevor Lawrence has to, like, in a worst case scenario, get surgery and miss the rest of the season, which apparently is on the table. It's not guaranteed, but it's out there as a possibility. Then you could end up paying off, like, this could end up working out. But I do like Brian Thomas a lot. He is already very good. He's already a stud. So TBD on if that works out. That grade is currently incomplete. But Bucky Irving is a guy that I think is more valuable right now than Travis Etienne. So that's a win. Yeah. We have to wait and see. I mean, your wide receivers are really good. You have solid options at running back. You did give up a little bit of depth, giving 2 for 1, but it could work out. It could work out if Jacksonville's season goes south and it's Mac Jones the rest of the way. You're not going to feel as good about Brian Thomas in that scenario. So it could work out. Could work out. But we have to wait and see how things shake out in Jacksonville as far as the injuries. Yeah, so this is the problem. If you're looking to trade CeeDee Lamb, you're going to right now probably get offers that are hesitant to acquire him for all of the reasons that are going on with the Cowboys right now. Dak might not play again this year. CeeDee is currently on the injury report as well and was listed as week to week with an AC joint sprain. He is practicing on a limited basis this week so far and is tracking toward playing, but is dealing with something that could affect him, for more than a couple of weeks. This injury could limit him. So right now, anybody who makes an offer for CeeDee or is willing to talk shop with you on CeeDee is going to try to get him at a reduced price. I would rather wait a week and see if I would prefer to roll the dice, wait a week, and see if CeeDee Lamb is able to alleviate any concerns about his availability or his health if he's able to play well and get some good volume from Cooper Rush this week, which should happen. Backup quarterbacks hyper-target their top wide receivers. That is a common trend. That is a common theme we see with backup quarterbacks. They go to their top receivers, their top weapons, their top options over and over and over again, more so even than the starter on average. So you can try to trade him, but are you willing to accept Amari Cooper or Jalen Waddle straight up right now? Something like that? That might get it done. I don't want to do that, though. Those guys are underperforming so far. So I would probably rather keep CeeDee Lamb and hope that he can get his value back up after this week, or at least over the next couple of weeks. His worth is down right now, and until I know for sure if he's going to, have to miss time, right now we're not expecting that, then I don't want to sell him. I don't want to sell him for pennies on the dollar, but I might have to. I'm not crazy about selling CeeDee at the moment, unless you can get his normal market value, which you're probably not going to get. Like, could you get like Drake London right now? I guess I might do that, but are we really pulling the trigger on that? I don't know. I think I'd rather just hold and at least for a week and see how things go after this week. Is this a start 2 or a start 1? Coleman doesn't look like he's going to play. McMillan, I don't know what his status is. Pittman isn't practicing. I need some more context here. Is it start 1? Is it start 2? And we only have two or three healthy guys here. What is McMillan's status? He's not practicing. So right now, my answer is Demario Douglas and Jalen Tolbert are your starts, because Coleman's not practicing, McMillan's not practicing, and Pittman's not practicing. That answer might change over the weekend. So let's keep tabs on this, but it's either Demario Douglas or Jalen Tolbert. And if it's start 2, then it's both of those guys, because the other guys are not practicing right now. So as far as I know, it doesn't look like they're going to play. We'll see if that changes. Do I believe in any of the Bengals receivers for tonight? Outside of Jamar Chase, I mean, Yossi you're hoping for a touchdown, but that's it. Yossi is the equivalent of a streaming tight end, so I'd rather not. But if you start 3 wide receivers and it's a deeper league, then you might have to, but hopefully you don't. No, I don't want to play Trenton Irwin. I don't even know if Jermaine Burton is playing, or Charlie Jones. No, I don't want to play those guys. Yossi is a deep dart throw. Hopefully you don't have to fire him up, though. I'll start Chase. I'll start Gesicki. That's as far as I'm willing to go. I got the member question, so appreciate my members. Yeah, that hurts a little bit. That hurts a little bit. It could still work out, but some injuries are going to have to take place in Jacksonville, and it's possible that happens because Lawrence is potentially looking at some missed time here. So we'll see. Lad McConkey or Yossi, we're playing Lad McConkey. McConkey has come on strong in recent weeks, and Yossi is an injury replacement, an injury fill-in. McConkey is a regular in the Chargers offense. And while it's not a great matchup by the numbers, he probably won't see L'Jarius Sneed even if he's able to suit up. And Justin Herbert is playing well right now. So, yeah, I'll take Lad McConkey. Yossi, you're hoping for a touchdown, but like nothing else. And that's the equivalent of a streaming tight end. I'd rather play the starting slot receiver that is catching the ball from Justin Herbert, who is a full-time player for his offense. I'll take Lad McConkey over Yossi tonight. Otton over Gesicki. Otton's a top 3 play at tight end this week. Bowers is on bye. Kittle, Kelsey, Otton. That's the top 3. I play those guys over any other tight end. So give me Otton over Gesicki. I like Gesicki as a stream tonight, but Otton has established himself probably as a top 5 option rest of season, maybe top 3. Downs, Adams, or Tracy? Is this a start? Is it a start 1 or is it a start 2? I mean, Adams gets the Cardinals. Tracy gets the Panthers. I would say Tracy would be first. Starting running back against the Carolina Panthers, he should get a lot of production. It's a great matchup. Best possible matchup for opposing running backs. Tracy 1, Adams 2, Downs 3. In that order. So if it's start 2, it's Tracy and Adams. If it's just start 1, I would play Tracy. He has taken off as the Giants starting running back, and he's in the best possible matchup against the Panthers in Germany. Yep, Tracy for sure. And then Adams. Someone wants Achane and Devontae Smith for Pollard and Lamb. No, you're not doing that. Offer Jacobs instead of Achane. No. No, I'm going to do you a solid. We're going to shut these conversations down right now. We're going to shut these trade talks down right now. I would not do that trade. Achane is a top 5 most valuable running back in fantasy rest of the way. Tony Pollard is not on that level. He has been solid, but he is now banged up and he's on a much worse offense than Achane is. CD, on the other hand, is an upgrade from Devontae Smith in a vacuum, but Devontae Smith has been a baller, and now CeeDee Lamb is injured, and Dak Prescott is potentially gone for the year. I would keep your pieces. I would keep Jacobs. I would rather have Jacobs than Pollard. I would rather have Achane than all of them. In a vacuum, I would rather have CeeDee Lamb than Devontae Smith, but I'd rather have your running backs than his running backs. And the fact that Lamb is injured is enough for me to say I am not interested in these trade negotiations. I would do nothing. I would hold the players that you have. I would hold the players that you have. One tight end, one flex between Kittle, Gesicki, Cooper, and Jennings. You have to play Kittle. And I would prefer to play Amari Cooper than Mike Gesicki, but he's on the injury report. And we don't know if he's going to play. I don't like playing 2 tight ends. But I guess we don't know if Cooper's going to play. I guess I'll play Gesicki. Put Gesicki in your tight end spot and put Kittle in your flex. So that way your flex stays open through to Sunday. But yeah, I don't like playing 2 tight ends, but in this scenario, I guess I'll play Gesicki and Kittle because we don't know if Cooper's going to play. So yeah, to that point, Theo, if you want to put Mark Andrews in your tight end spot and put Kelsey in one of your flex spots, I like putting my Thursday Night Football players in their position spots to leave my flex spots open for the weekend. I encourage you guys to do the same for Thursday Night Football. Put your Thursday Night Football players in a running back spot or a wide receiver spot or a tight end spot. Leave that flex spot open for the weekend. Maximize your flexibility, pun intended. So yeah, if you want to play Mark Andrews, Theo, that's fine. But then, of course, I guess if it's one flex spot that's available and you go with Kelsey, then that means that you can't play James Conner. So in your scenario, like I do want to hold out for the running back. What is Conner's status? I mean, he's questionable, but is he? Yeah, he's limited. He's practicing. Conner's going to suit up. I want Conner in my flex, Theo. If you only have one flex spot, I want to wait on Conner. Your situation is a little different, Theo. Like in this scenario, it's just Cooper, and I'm willing to sit Cooper for Gesicki. But your scenario involves a running back that I want to play. So I want to wait on Conner. I would keep that flex spot open. I would play Kelsey and keep that flex spot open. Bobby sent me a super. Thank you so much, Bobby. Appreciate that. Appreciate the support. Let's see. You need 2 running backs. You need 2 receivers. You need a tight end. You need a flex. You're playing Bijan. I would say you're playing Algier if Christian McCaffrey is active and gets his full complement of snaps. If we're expecting a timeshare, if that's the report going into Sunday, then I would play Mason. But if McCaffrey is expected to get like his full workload, then I would plan to play Algier as your RB2 and then Bijan for sure. Your 2 wide receivers, I would play Garrett Wilson. Oh boy, I guess I would play between Flowers tonight or McLaurin. I guess I would play Flowers. He has come on strong the past 2 weeks. So I would play Flowers tonight as your second wide receiver along with Garrett Wilson. I would play McLaurin as your flex, and I would play McBride as your tight end. I would not play Gesicki over McBride. I like Gesicki tonight, but I would play McBride over him. And I would play McLaurin in your flex over Gesicki. So, Bijan RB1, Garrett Wilson, Zay Flowers, Terry McLaurin are your 2 receivers in your flex. McBride is your tight end. And then your RB2 is Algier, if we're expecting a full complement of snaps for Christian McCaffrey. And if we're expecting a 50-50 split, a timeshare, which will maybe be something that's the information that we maybe get closer to kickoff. If that's the case, we're expecting a timeshare, then I would play Mason. So your RB2 spot's in a little bit of limbo, Bobby. We're just going to have to keep, stay close to updates as it pertains to McCaffrey and his expected workload this week. But appreciate the super, Bobby. Appreciate the support. Let me know if you need anything else. Just got to make a play for this evening. Sprinkle a little action on the game. Add a little bit of intrigue. And we're good to go. All right. Thank you again, Bobby. Appreciate the support. Where did I leave off? You picked up Herbert. Okay. What's this? What is this? Was this from the 2-for-1? Yeah, okay, that's fine. I mean, Herbert's playing well, so that works. You can fire him up next week. Yeah, that works. Waddle, Liggett, or Jennings in half, and we're picking one in half PPR. Waddle has been wildly disappointing. Liggett gets a good matchup against the Giants. I might actually say Liggett. I can't believe I'm saying that. Waddle he caught the touchdown, but he's had such a bad year. The matchup is really good, but he has been really disappointing. Liggett, on the other hand, has 13 targets the past 2 weeks. He has a couple of touchdowns the past 2 weeks. The Giants don't have a good secondary. I would play Liggett. Jennings is on the injury report, so while it's a great matchup, I don't know that I trust him with George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and Christian McCaffrey all healthy. So I'll say Liggett here. That's where I'm going. Give me Xavier Liggett. Waddle's been disappointing, and Jennings is on the injury report behind multiple target hogs. And yeah, you're welcome. We'll see what happens here. It's possible it's possible the trade still works out in your favor. Certainly possible. Bucky or Pickens in the flex? I would probably go Pickens. His quarterback play is elevated with Russell Wilson now. Washington has been a lot better on defense recently than they were to start the year, but Pickens is commanding a number 1 target share. They're going to have to throw in this game. Washington's offense is very good. I'll take Pickens. Especially because Bucky, I mean, he could be that Bucks backfield is impossible to predict. He could do well. He could score less than 5 points like he did this past week. So give me Pickens. Robinson or McMillan? I'll go with the guy who's healthy for right now. This answer could change, but Jalen McMillan didn't play on Monday Night Football, and he's not practicing to open the week this week. So it's Demarcus Robinson by default. he's going to drop to third again on the pecking order behind Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, but he's healthy right now. And Jalen McMillan isn't. So it's got to, for right now, it has to be Demarcus Robinson. You have McCaffrey, you have Connor, and you have Rico Dowdle. And this was, you'd be trading Pollard away for Downs or Mooney. I guess I would want to know who the other wide receivers are that you have as well. Like with McCaffrey coming back, that's huge, but Connor's on the injury report. Rico is now on a really bad offense with a backup quarterback. So now I'm like I'm not as, if you've got solid wide receivers, I'm not as bullish about it. If your wide receivers aren't great, then I might be okay with it after all, but I would want to know who your wide receivers are in addition to these running backs. Cortland Sutton or Calvin Ridley? Probably Ridley. But again, Mason Rudolph has to start. If Mason Rudolph starts, then I would play Ridley. If Will Levis starts, then I would play Sutton. Yeah, so it depends on who the Titans quarterback is. Yeah, depends on who the Titans quarterback is. Ridley, if it's Mason Rudolph, I would play Sutton if it's Will Levis. And you have two flex to fill the... Okay, then play Mark Andrews. Then play Mark Andrews tonight. Yep, that's fine. Then that works out. Play Mark Andrews tonight and plan to play Travis Kelce this week. And then that way you can put James Conner into that second flex if he plays, and it looks like he will. Okay, yeah, you can play Mark Andrews tonight. And you might as well with those injuries at wide receiver. You might as well. You could play him and Kelce. What's up, Siobhan? I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. You're sitting Chase Brown and Montgomery for Achane, Tracy, and Hall. I think I would play Chase Brown tonight. But if that is what you want to do, I don't want to stop you from setting the lineup that you choose to set. I would play Chase Brown, and I would probably get him in there over Tyrone Tracy, who I know has been great, and I know is in a great matchup, and Chase Brown is in a worse matchup. But I would rather have the running back next to Joe Burrow, who is going to get the lion's share of opportunities moving forward with Zach Moss out for the year, than I would the running back next to Daniel Jones, even though it's a juicy matchup against the Panthers. If you want to play Tracy, I won't stop. I'm not going to try to stop you. I would probably I would find a way to get Chase Brown into my lineup. And for me, if it had to come at the expense of Chase Brown or of Tyrone Tracy, then so be it. I know it's a bad matchup against Baltimore by the numbers, but Chase Brown is trending toward being a league winner at this point. The opportunities in that Bengals backfield, he can catch the ball, he can make big plays happen. T. Higgins is missing time, so like more pass catching opportunities are available. They traded for Khalil Herbert, but it's his first for this particular game. It's his first game. He's probably not going to see a whole lot of action. Chase Brown is going to get as many opportunities as he can handle. I would get Chase Brown in there, probably over Tracy, not over Achane, and I guess not over Breece Hall either. But I would probably do it over Tracy, even though he's in a great matchup against Carolina. That's how bullish I am on Chase Brown. This is a great collection of running backs that you have. This would be a scenario where I wouldn't mind flipping one of these guys, maybe Tracy, to try to get a really good upgrade at wide receiver, because you run 4 deep without any one of these guys. And that's the situation that you want to be in at running back. If you run 3 deep, that's good, but you are way thinner than if you run 4 deep. and you run 5 deep. So I wouldn't mind trying to dangle one of these running backs to get a stud wide receiver because you still have 4 awesome running back options to turn to no matter what you end up doing. This is an awesome backfield to have. That's an awesome backfield to have. So do whatever you want with it because you have really good options no matter what. I would prefer to play Chase Brown if I could. To that point, Bobby, about Chase Brown, I think he's going to dominate the snaps and opportunities tonight, and I think Khalil Herbert is maybe he gets 15 snaps. I don't think he's going to get a ton of work. It's his first game with the team. It's a short week. I would expect him, Travion Williams or Chris Evans sees more work than Khalil Herbert tonight. And maybe Khalil Herbert works in a little bit more starting in week 11 and week 12. But he just got there. I don't know that he would see a lot of work tonight. Chase Brown's going to get all the work that he can handle tonight. All right, let's see. Where are we at? You have Devontae Smith and you have Downs. Yeah, I mean, I like Downs a lot, but you could absolutely take one of those running backs and trade for like a big upgrade. Like hell, see if somebody is like, whoever has Puka in your league, see if they're frustrated with Puka after he got ejected last week, and see if you can flip one of your running backs. Do they need running back help? Like something like that, or like a Drake London. You could kick the tires on getting a stud wide receiver for one of those 5 running backs because you would still run 4 deep. Just throwing thoughts out there. You don't have to do anything or nothing. No decisions need to be made tonight, but just throwing it out there. You have flexibility because of how strong your backfield options are. Let's see. Should you try to get Tyreek Hill? I mean, do you want Tyreek Hill? How many wide receivers do you start? Do you start 3 or do you start 2? Bijan, Kyren, and then after that, your running back depth is Kareem Hunt, Ramondre Stevenson. You have good running back depth. Your wide receivers are Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith, Deebo Samuel. That's good. DJ Moore, Quentin Johnston. I mean, it's going to cost you probably one of those wide receivers and then maybe like a depth guy like a Jordan Mason. If you start 3 wide receivers and you're willing, I mean, if you start 3 wide receivers, it's probably going to cost you one of those wide receivers and then say like a Jordan Mason. Or could you do it for Stevenson? You're probably not going to be able to get it done for like a Stevenson and a DJ Moore. That's not going to get it done. It's probably going to need to be like one of those 3 starting wide receivers plus a running back or something like that. So if you start 2 wide receivers, then maybe, but if you start 3, then I might prefer to keep the depth that you have. So it depends on your starting lineup and how many receivers you start. 2 receivers, that shrinks the amount of talent that are conceivably available for you to start. So I would be okay with it. But if you start 3 receivers, then I'd rather have 3 really good options than 2 excellent options and a drop-off and like a drop-off player. And right now you have 3 really good options. So it depends. Depends on your starting lineup. You're starting 3. I'm inclined to keep what you have. Because Tyreek's going to cost Deebo and Stevenson or Devontae Smith and Kareem Hunt. I'm just assuming. Or Garrett Wilson and Jordan Mason. Like, I'm assuming that's what it might cost. And I'm not trading Bijan or Kyren Williams. I'm not trading my starting running backs. So I'm inclined to say not really feeling it. Inclined to say no. You have Purdy, you have Stafford, you have Flacco, you have May, you have Daniel Jones. I mean, you have Mason, you have Ramondre, you have Montgomery, you have good running backs because you have Chase Brown, you have Montgomery, you have Ramondre, you have London, you have Jennings, you have Dell, you have Evans who's hurt. But Evans could come back. I mean, can you offer one of those guys? I mean, you're not. I don't know if you're going to be able to get Devontae Adams for one of those quarterbacks, but if you're desperate, if someone's desperate for a quarterback, then you might be able to swing it. I would probably keep Purdy. He's been playing decently well. I would probably keep May. He's been playing well, and he runs. I mean, if you could try to trade Stafford or Flacco, I don't know if that's going to get it done for like Adams. Your running back depth is good. I wouldn't trade like two quarterbacks. I mean, if you could do like Flacco and Jones for Adams or something like that, that might be okay. I will say, though, I don't think you have any urgent choices to make here or urgent decisions to make. You know, it's good to be strong at quarterback and have a lot of options in Superflex. You've got good running backs. Your receivers are decent enough to get you through until Evans comes back. Maybe offer like Flacco and one of those tight ends. Offer Flacco and Gesicki for Adams, something like that. Because you only need one tight end. You don't need two tight ends. Something like that. See if that'll get it done. A quarterback plus one of those tight ends for like Adams and boost your wide receivers. Keep your running backs though. If you can, I mean, if you can trade for Hurts and then that costs like, I don't know, Purdy and Flacco or Purdy and Stafford, then I would do that as well. I would do that as well. If you want Hurts, that would work. Yeah, try to trade two of your quarterbacks for one for Hurts. If you can make it happen, then sure, go for it. Would I drop Juju and pick up Pittman? Yes, I would. I would do that. Juju at this point is not a hold for me. Pittman is worth a flyer if the swap that you can make is for Juju Smith-Schuster. Yes, I'll see how Pittman, I'll see how Pittman does over the next couple of weeks if that's all I have to drop to get him. Yeah. I would pick up Michael Pittman for Juju. Yes. That's fine. That's fine with me. That's fine with me. And I'm sorry that people are I have no doubt I'm sorry that people in your league don't do trades. That's how some leagues go. It's unfortunate. It stinks when you don't have a lot of people who are interested in making trades. That's frustrating. You can always crowdsource to see if there are other leagues that you can join. There are forums all over the place that offer open, they offer open leagues or invitations to open leagues. Yeah, try to find somebody. Try to find another league through like different forums online. We can help with that. You don't have to abandon your friends, but just add another league that's maybe a little bit more trade happy. Let's see. Someone offered you Jameis Winston for Rondale Moore and a second. but you're thinking of leaving the league. I mean, I don't want to. So if you're thinking of leaving the league, I would feel guilty making trades that involve draft picks and buy sell moves if I was thinking of leaving the league. Now, if your league already knows that you're thinking of leaving and the commissioner already knows that you're thinking of leaving and they don't care if you make these moves, then that's fine because you lost Dak in Superflex and Winston will be a starter rest of season. I guess it just depends. You know the vibes of that league better than I do. So, if you're thinking of leaving and people don't know it yet, then I probably would. On principle, I probably wouldn't make the trade. If they do know that you're leaving and they don't care if you make moves, then sure, this is a win now move. So it depends on like how the league would react on a move that you made, and then also subsequently, maybe leaving this league and leaving this team for somebody else. So that's kind of like a variable that I think you need to navigate with your league mates. If they know you're leaving and they don't care if you make trades, then great. But if they don't know you're leaving, or if they do know you're leaving and they think it might be weird for you to be trading when you're leaving, that's another can of worms that I think you need to sort out with your league mates if it exists. Let's see. Stafford, May, and Ramondre for Hurts, Myers, and Aaron Jones. Yeah, yes, I would take that. Yes, I would take that because you're acquiring in Superflex. You're acquiring the best piece in this trade in Hurts. You're picking up a good wide receiver in Myers. You're trading and you're swapping good, reliable, rock solid running backs for Ramondre for Aaron Jones. So no loss there. In fact, you're probably upgrading a little bit because Aaron Jones's situation, his offense is better than Ramondre's, and you get the best player in the deal in Jalen Hurts. Yes, I would take that trade. Yes, make that happen. Make that happen now. Tonight, as soon as you can. Make that happen. Yes, I like that trade for you. 100%. And then Steelers or Chiefs. I'll take the Chiefs defense. They're playing. I mean, Bo Nix has been playing pretty well this year, but he's still a rookie. The Chiefs have a veteran. They're a good defense. They have a veteran-laden defense. It's a good unit. The Steelers are going on the road to face a hot Washington offense. Jane Daniels is playing great. He's a rookie as well, but he's playing lights out. The Washington offense is playing well in general. I would rather play the Chiefs defense. I would rather play the Chiefs defense. And that trade is done. Awesome. Congrats. I would say that's a big win for you. That trade is a big win for you. Nicely done. Nicely done. I like that. I like that acquisition for you a lot. Well done. We are at the end of the chat with about 20 minutes to kick off here. If nobody needs anything else, I will be live for Start Sit Help on Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern. I may go live Sunday morning, but there is an international game, so I may leave that slot open for folks to just watch the game. Although it is Panthers Giants, there's not, there's some appeal, but it's not like the most fantasy laden matchup. Yeah. So I can be available for that. Moving forward, Sunday streams will be members only. So for week 11, or certainly week 11 onward, definitely after the international game, but possibly if I do the Sunday stream, those will be, anybody can access the streams, but only members can access the chats. That will be initiated for the rest of the season. For anybody who needs the last minute help or thought process for Sunday morning. But Saturday still open to the public, 5 p.m. Eastern. Will be available for that. But if there is nothing else, I can go ahead and shut this down. Everybody enjoy the game. Appreciate the time. Special shout out to my members. Thanks for spending some time with me this evening. Thank you to Bobby for the super, much appreciated, and for everybody else for the time spent and for your patience. Make sure to come on back on Saturday if you still have any outstanding start-sit questions. We'll make sure to get through to them. Would I drop Mason to complete the trade? If you have to, then why do you have to? It's an even 3 for 3. I would rather drop Jennings to get this trade done, to be honest. I don't want to drop Mason. He's valuable running back depth. If you're acquiring Jacoby Myers. If you have to drop somebody, I would drop Jennings. Not Mason. Keep your running back depth. All right. Appreciate the time, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Enjoy the game. Hopefully things go your way. Yeah, I would drop Jennings. I would drop Jennings if you can. I wouldn't drop Flacco, and I wouldn't drop Mason. All right. Think we're all square. Appreciate everybody. Enjoy the game, and I will see you guys on Saturday. Thanks, everyone.